You have said it. You have said, "You're fine, stop crying," at some point, in some tired tone of voice, to a small person whose distress did not match whatever caused it. Every parent has. You said it at the grocery store when the banana broke in half. You said it in the car after a long day when the strap of the car seat pinched a finger. You said it at bedtime, at the fifth meltdown, with a voice that had just nothing left. You are not a bad parent. You are a tired person doing one of the hardest jobs on earth. And yet, if you have read anything about attachment in the last 10 years, you may have quietly wondered whether those small moments add up to something. Whether they mean you are, without wanting to, teaching your child not to come to you. Here is what researchers who study attachment have actually found. Avoidant attachment, the pattern where a child learns, quietly and without anyone meaning it, that distress is something to handle alone, does not come from one bad day. It does not come from one tired sentence. It comes from a pattern of hundreds of small moments across months and years where a child's feelings were minimized, rushed past, or competing with a screen. That is the bad news, and it is also the good news, because a pattern made of small moments can be changed with small moments. This video is about the 3 smallest, most repeatable moves you can make, borrowed from Dutch parents. The people whose children have topped UNICEF's rankings for child well-being in the wealthy world year after year. 3 scripts, exact words, and the research behind why they work. So why the Netherlands? Here is the context. UNICEF has ranked the wealthiest countries on child well-being 5 times in the last 2 decades, and in every single ranking, in mental health, in relationships with parents and peers, in life satisfaction, Dutch children come in at or near the top, not because Dutch parents are more patient, not because Dutch homes are quieter, because the culture over generations has built small, everyday habits that almost accidentally line up with what attachment researchers describe as secure-base parenting. There is a phrase Dutch families use: regelmaat, reinheid, rust, regularity, order, rest. 3 words, and they describe a rhythm: predictable meal times, early bedtimes, unhurried mornings, long walks in weather that is politely not ideal. Researchers who study early attachment, going back to Mary Ainsworth's original work in the 1970s, have observed that children form a secure attachment not through grand gestures, but through predictable, available, low-drama care across ordinary days. The Dutch 3 R's are not a parenting technique. They are the shape of a week, and the shape of a week is what a small child's nervous system actually measures. There is another Dutch word worth knowing: gezelligheid. It does not translate cleanly into English. The closest English approximations are cozy, warm, companionable togetherness. The feeling of a small lit room with people you love in it, doing nothing in particular. A family on the sofa reading, a shared pot of tea in the late afternoon, a child coloring on the floor while a parent is right there. Not on a phone, not performing, just there. Attachment researchers have a dry technical name for this. They call it availability. The Dutch have a word for the feeling of it. Both describe the same thing, and both, according to decades of research, are part of what helps a young child's nervous system learn that other humans are safe to come back to. That is the cultural soil the 3 scripts in this video grow out of. It is not a parenting philosophy. It is a rhythm. Here is the reframe most parents have not heard, and it matters. Avoidant attachment is not the same as independence. It looks like independence. It is often praised as independence. A child who does not cry when dropped off, who soothes themselves quickly, who does not seem to need much. That child gets called easy, gets called mature, gets called a good sleeper, and sometimes that child is simply an easygoing temperament, and nothing more needs to be said. But researchers who study attachment, most notably Mary Main and her colleagues at Berkeley in the 1980s, found something more uncomfortable when they looked closely. Some of those easy children, when their physiology was measured, heart rate, cortisol, were not calm at all. They were distressed. They had just very early in life learned that showing the distress did not bring anyone closer, so they stopped showing it. That is what avoidant attachment actually is. Not a child who does not feel. A child who has learned, across hundreds of small moments, that feelings are not useful currency in this particular relationship. And the pattern on the parent side is, honestly, not dramatic. It is not yelling. It is not neglect in any legal sense. It is what researchers who study dismissive caregiving describe as a pattern of minimizing distress. You're fine. Stop crying. It doesn't hurt that much. Big kids don't cry about crayons. Said once, they are nothing. Said 100 times across a year, they start to teach a small nervous system that bids for comfort will be met with a redirect, not a response. There is a second pattern researchers have been documenting with growing alarm for about 15 years, and it has a clunky name, technoference. Jenny Radesky and her colleagues, in work cited by the American Academy of Pediatrics, have found that when caregivers are frequently absorbed in phones during routine caregiving, feeding, play, bedtime, children show more behavioral bids, more distress, and over time, more of the markers researchers associate with insecure attachment patterns. The phone is not the villain. The pattern is the pattern of a child making a bid for attention and meeting, again and again, the top of a parent's head. Dutch parents are not phone-free. They are, on average, holding the phone less during dedicated child time, and more notably, they have cultural permission to put the child's bid first without feeling they are being soft. That permission is the thing we are trying to borrow tonight. Here is your first script. Use this one at the moment you are most tempted to say, "You're fine. Stop crying." That moment usually arrives when the distress is, to an adult, wildly out of proportion to the cause. The banana broke. The sock has a seam. The blue cup was already in the dishwasher. You are tired. You want the crying to stop. And the fastest way you have learned to stop crying is to tell the child, kindly but firmly, that there is nothing to cry about. Do not do that. Do this instead. Get low. Not hovering over them. Down to their level. Put a hand on their back or their knee if they let you, and say, "That looks really hard. I am right here. You do not have to be fine yet." That is the whole script. 3 short sentences. Do not add anything. Do not explain why the banana being broken is okay. Do not promise another banana. Do not make a joke to break the mood. Just those 3 sentences, in a voice that is slower than your normal voice. If your child keeps crying, which they probably will, that is the script working. Stay low. Stay close. You can quietly repeat the middle line, "I am right here," as many times as it takes. Silence is fine. Presence is the message. If your child pushes you away or says "go away," do not leave the room. Move back a small distance. Stay in their eye line and say once, "I will give you space. I am right over here." Then sit down. Stay available. Many children push before they come back. Let them. If the distress escalates into a full meltdown, full body on the floor, inconsolable, stop trying to use words at all. Stay close, breathe slowly and audibly, and let your calm be the whole script. Researchers who study co-regulation have found that a small nervous system in full distress actually borrows a calm nervous system nearby. You do not talk them down. You breathe them down. If you feel yourself getting angry or overwhelmed, which happens, which is human, take half a step back, take a real breath, and say, I am going to sit with you. We do not have to talk. Your honesty in that moment is worth more than a perfect script. Here is the research. Researchers who studied dismissive parenting, including John Gottman's meta-emotion work and decades of attachment observation, have consistently found that the single most protective thing a parent can do in a distress moment is to validate the feeling before solving the problem. That looks really hard is validation in 5 words. It does not agree that the banana being broken is a tragedy. It agrees that the child's feeling about it is real. And the line, "You do not have to be fine yet," that is the direct opposite of, "You're fine, stop crying." It hands the child permission to still be upset, which, paradoxically, is usually what allows them to stop being upset. The Dutch cue underneath this script is simple. Name it. Stay. Do not rush to fix. A small child who learns, across hundreds of these moments, that their big feelings are met with a calm grown-up. That child is being quietly built into what attachment researchers call securely attached. Not because you did anything heroic, because you stopped trying to fast forward the feeling. Script 2 is about the moment you have already half missed. Your child said something. You were reading a message. You said, They looked at you for half a second to see whether you were actually there, and then they looked away. Most parents, if we are honest, feel that moment and pretend it did not happen. We say, a little more warmly. We promise ourselves we will look up next time. The Dutch move is different, and it is almost embarrassingly simple. Put the phone down, make the gesture visible, and name what just happened. Here is the script. Set the phone down where the child can see it land. Turn your body toward them, full shoulders, not just your face, and say, I am putting this down. I am with you now. Tell me again. 3 short sentences. That is the whole script. The phone going down is not a side detail. It is half the script. A small child has been watching you track that phone for as long as they have had eyes. The physical act of putting it down, on a table, face down, is a signal their nervous system can read before they can read any words. If your child has already given up and walked away, follow them. Do not call from across the room. Go to where they are, crouch down, and say, I heard you. I was not all the way listening. Can you tell me again? The repair matters more than the perfect first response. If you are in the middle of something on the phone that genuinely cannot wait, which is rarer than we tell ourselves, say it clearly, briefly, and set a visible end. I have to finish this message. 2 minutes. Then I am all yours. Then actually finish in 2 minutes. Then actually put it down. A small child can wait for a specified, honest 2 minutes far better than they can compete with an open-ended fog of half attention. If you have been on the phone for a much longer stretch and you know it, and this is the one most parents need the most, do not pretend otherwise. Say, I have been on this too long. I am sorry. I am here now. What would you like to do? Children forgive a named miss faster than they forgive a pretended presence. The research is unambiguous here. Jenny Radesky's body of work on technoference, much of it summarized in American Academy of Pediatrics guidance, has repeatedly found that the issue is not phone use as such. It is the pattern of a child's bid for attention meeting the top of a parent's head. Brief, undivided attention, 60 honest seconds, has been shown to regulate a child more effectively than long stretches of distracted attention. That is the Dutch move translated into a script. Not more hours with the child. Better minutes. The phone goes down. The body turns. The child is told in words that they are the thing being attended to right now. Do that 4 or 5 times across a day, every day, and you are not perfect. You are, according to attachment research, more than enough. Script 3 is for the worst moment of your week. The moment you lost your temper. The moment you snapped at a small person for something that, in a different hour, you would have laughed at. The moment you said a sentence you heard your own parents say once and swore you would not. Most parenting content pretends this moment does not exist or tells you to prevent it. This script assumes it happens. Because the research is almost laughably clear on this. It happens in every family, and what matters is not whether it happens. What matters is what comes after. Researchers who study attachment call this rupture and repair. The phrase comes partly from Ed Tronic's famous still face experiments in the 1970s, where researchers watched what happened when a parent briefly went blank-faced with an infant and then watched what happened when they came back. The infants who saw a warm return, a repair, recovered quickly and, over time, developed more secure patterns. The rupture is not the problem. The unrepaired rupture is the problem. Here is the script. Go to the child, get low, and say, "I was not at my best a moment ago. That was not about you. I love you, and I am back." That is it. 4 short sentences, said slowly, without a speech attached. Do not explain yourself at length. Do not list the things that were stressing you. Do not ask the child to forgive you on a timeline. Just name the miss, separate it from them, and come back. If your child is still upset and does not want the hug yet, respect that. Say, "I understand. I am not going anywhere." Then sit down and wait. Repair is not an instant. It is a return. The return can take 10 minutes or an afternoon. It still counts. If your child asks why you got angry, answer honestly and briefly at their developmental level. I was very tired and I let a small thing feel big. That is a grown-up thing to sort out, not your job. That last sentence, not your job, is the attachment protective move. It keeps the child from concluding that their feelings caused the rupture. If the same rupture keeps happening at the same time of day, bath time, mornings, the witching hour before dinner, the repair is not enough on its own. The rupture is telling you the day is badly shaped, not that you are a bad parent. Look at the hour before the rupture. Usually there is a real fix there. An earlier dinner, a shorter errand, a screen-free pocket. The Dutch framing on this is unsentimental and, honestly, freeing. Dutch parenting writers often say in various ways that perfect parenting is not the target. Reliable repair is the target. A child raised by a parent who loses it sometimes and reliably comes back learns 2 very important things. The first is that big feelings do not break relationships. The second is that humans, including the ones they love, are allowed to be human. Researchers who study resilient attachment have written for decades that this is not a consolation prize. This is, on many measures, a stronger outcome than the unattainable fantasy of a parent who never slips. There is a question you might be carrying right now, and it is the reason you clicked on a video with a title this sharp. Is this really my child? Is it already too late? Have I, without meaning to, already built the pattern? Let me answer as honestly as the research allows. First, attachment patterns in young children are remarkably plastic. Researchers who study change in attachment classification in both observational and intervention studies, have found that children can and do move from insecure to secure classifications when the caregiving pattern around them changes. Not overnight, usually across months. But the move is real, and it has been documented across decades. The developing brain of a young child, particularly under the age of 5, is built to update on new evidence. New patterns of repair become new expectations. Second, even if your child is older, this is still not a closed door. Adolescent and adult attachment research, including Mary Main's adult attachment interview work, has found that what changes attachment across a lifetime is something researchers call earned security. It is not having had perfect early care. It is having access, later, to a reliable relationship that behaves differently. You can be that later relationship for your own older child. Third, and this is the part most parents need to hear, the fact that you are watching this video tonight after a hard day, worried whether you have damaged something, that fact itself is the protective factor. Researchers who study caregiving have a name for what you are doing right now. They call it reflective functioning, the ability to hold your child's mind in your mind and wonder about it. Parents with high reflective functioning produce more secure attachments, even when they mess up in exactly the ways you are afraid you are messing up. So, no, it is not too late. You are not, from what I can see, building avoidant attachment. You are building the exact skill that most reliably undoes it. And if tonight you use just one of these 3 scripts, once imperfectly, with a child who is frankly a bit confused by it, that is a new piece of evidence going into their nervous system. Tomorrow, you can add another. Nothing about this is fast. Everything about it is possible. To recap, 3 scripts, 1 Dutch principle. Avoidant attachment is built in small moments, and it is undone in small moments. The principle is presence, named out loud in short sentences in a voice that is slower than your usual voice. First, the don't minimize script. When the distress looks out of proportion and you are tempted to say you're fine, stop crying. Get low and say, "That looks really hard. I am right here. You do not have to be fine yet." Name it. Stay. Do not rush to fix. Second, the phone down script. When your child made a bid and you half missed it, put the phone down where they can see it land and say, "I am putting this down. I am with you now. Tell me again." Brief, undivided attention beats long, distracted attention every single time. Third, the repair script. After you lost your temper, after you snapped, after the hour you wish had gone differently, go back and say, "I was not at my best a moment ago. That was not about you. I love you, and I am back." Reliable repair, not perfect parenting, is the target. Underneath the 3 is the Dutch rhythm: regularity, gezelligheid, the hour on the sofa with nothing in particular happening, the meal eaten together, the bike ride in bad weather. That rhythm is the soil. The scripts are the seeds. Use one tonight. Use another tomorrow. Keep going. This is the kind of parenting change that looks invisible for 2 weeks. And then one afternoon, you will notice your child coming to you instead of turning away, and you will know the pattern has shifted. Save this video. You will want these 3 scripts the next time the banana breaks, the phone is in your hand, or the hour has gone sideways. And if this was useful, the next video in this series looks at what Japanese parents do during a toddler tantrum, grounded in co-regulation research, a technique so quiet it looks like they are doing nothing, and the science behind it is extraordinary. It is already waiting for you.